What to do when triggered. Now, 2 weeks ago, quite out of the blue, I was rejected by someone I thought was a friend. I mean, it came out of absolutely nowhere. There was no explanation, no clues. I was just like cut off. It was like I no longer existed. It was as if I had suddenly become invisible. I was judged and found guilty of I don't know what, I have no idea. And I think the modern term for this is ghosting. So yes, I was ghosted. Now, well, it hit me hard. I mean, after all, I thought this person was my friend. And, you know, as you know, I aspire to living in high vibration, but the unexpectedness of this rejection and the way it was done by a friend, it just simply took the wind out of my sails. I mean, I was just flattened. I mean, it flattened me, it took control of me, and it also took control of me physically. I became really tired, I actually became dizzy, and a few other things happened as well. So now roll forward a couple of weeks, and I'm now really grateful that this happened. I mean, I'm grateful for what I learned and for what I can now share with you from my experience. So what I am going to cover today is wounds that trigger, wounds that no longer trigger, and what to do when triggered. So if you don't know me, my name is Tessa Stowe. Nice to meet you, and I inspire and empower people to live in high vibration so they are free to live a happy, healthy, enchanted life. So let's get on with it. Let's get on with wounds that trigger. Now, we all have wounds that when triggered or touched, we react. I mean, it's understandable. Now, after all, if you have a physical open wound, right, and somebody touches it, you definitely react. So besides physical wounds, we also have these emotional wounds. And when they are touched, we react emotionally. And the emotional wound that my friend touched or triggered in me was rejection. So rejection is a deep emotional wound for me for reasons I won't go into, but it took what that friend did to basically keep that up, get that emotional wound of rejection just shooting back up to the surface, and then I reacted. And when I automatically emotionally reacted, I had no control, it was just automatic. And as those emotional reactions took control of me, it lowered my vibration right down. I mean, I was flattened. I mean, it was horrible. So now for me, the rejection was, the emotional trigger was rejection, but there's lots of other emotional triggers. So there's like betrayal, there's being excluded or ignored, there's criticism, feeling unwanted, feeling smothered, feeling insecure, feeling judged. I mean, these are all emotional triggers that can just trigger you off. So do any of them resonate with you? And you know, what other emotional triggers could you add to this list? Have a think about it. And when you are triggered, when you are triggered, how do you react? Do you get angry? Do you get upset? Do you get sad? Do you get hurt? Yes. Do you get defensive? Do you try and fix? Do you go into fixing mode, or do you avoid? Do you withdraw? Do you withhold? I mean, when I was triggered by this rejection, my reaction was to get very upset. I was very upset and feel very, very hurt. And then I wanted to defend myself and go in and fix it. I'm a real fixer, you know, that's me. So welcome to the club if you have wounds, emotional wounds that trigger you. But hold on, I'm going to cover what to do when you get triggered. And I eventually got myself to do this as well. So, but before we get on to this, I want to talk about wounds that no longer trigger. Now, emotional wounds can heal to the extent that they no longer trigger you, even if they're really deep emotional wounds. For example, I used to be really triggered by people saying to me that I was crazy or I was mental. So I was so triggered by this, and I was so scared of this, that I went all out for years and years and years to be number one at whatever I did, to prove to people that I was not crazy and I was not mental. Avoiding this trigger really drove my actions and my life for years. It really kind of defined me. But what is interesting is that over the last year, in 2020 in particular, I really stepped out and I've been quite vocal about my truth. And as a consequence of being vocal about my truth, I have been attacked. And many, including friends, have called me crazy and mental. And guess what? When they called me crazy and mental, it bounced off. It was so cool. That wound is healed for me now. It no longer triggers me. That for me is absolutely monumental. So now I'm really grateful for all those people in 2020 that called me crazy and called me mental. Otherwise I wouldn't have known that this wound is healed. Okay? So what wounds do you have? What wounds did you used to have that are healed and no longer trigger you? Have a think, because I'm sure there's some, and you may not even realise it. It took me years and years to heal that you are crazy, you are mental wound of mine. It took me years and years. So for me to now get to this point, I'm no longer triggered by it. But the good news is I now know there is a much faster way to heal emotional wounds so you're not triggered by them. And this way doesn't take years and years, and I'm going to share this way with you. So, what to do when triggered? Now, I'm going to be totally transparent. I have known this method that I'm going to tell you about for quite some time. And even though I knew the method, when I was triggered by being rejected, all that knowing what to do just went poof out the window. My emotional reaction, were automatic, and they just simply took control over me. And it was only after several days that I went, hold a sec, Tess. I had a good old talking to myself. I was able to pull myself back up and use this method. So now, out of this whole incident of rejection, there's lots of positives. So on the positive side, I feel I won't be triggered so much anymore by rejection. And hopefully that last rejection was the final encore of rejection. I hope so. And on the positive side also, I'm creating this video as an additional tool which I can watch when I'm triggered again. And you can watch it as well. You can use it as a tool. And on the positive side as well, I was able to pull myself back much faster than when I've previously been triggered by rejection. It didn't take me weeks and weeks and weeks or months and months and months, okay? And it had in the past. So before I talk about my method, I'll tell you what my automatic reactions were when I got triggered by rejection. Well, first off, I was really hurt. I was deeply hurt, and I was really upset. And then I went into fix-it mode. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to have a conversation with them, find out what it was all about, and I'm going to fix it. But at the very least, I'll find out or understand what I was guilty of, because then I could defend myself. So thankfully, the person didn't even want to talk about it. I'm so grateful for that. So the other thing I did is I went into playback mode in my head. So I started playing various scenarios in my head over and over and over, because I was trying to work it out, trying to work out what I'd done to to cause the problem, and what I should have done differently, and I, played all these different scenarios. And just want to let you know that playback mode didn't help either. So I don't recommend trying to fix it when you get when you get triggered. I don't recommend fixing, and I don't recommend playback either. Playback is exhausting. So what do I recommend instead? So I instead recommend that you use my ULA methodology when you are triggered. It's my ULA methodology. So let me tell you more about it. So the U in ULA stands for understand. So when you are emotionally triggered, first off is to understand. Understand what happened to you, not with the other person. This is all about you. So understand what happened with you. So if I look at my rejection, what happened to me was I was ghosted and cut off by a friend, and it triggered rejection, and I felt upset and deeply hurt. Yeah. So it's important to understand what happened to you, right? But it's equally important not to spend too much time here, because if you spend too much time in trying to understand, you're basically just bringing it all up again, and you're bringing all those emotions that you felt when you were triggered. You're bringing all those up, right? And what you focus on, remember, it expands. So if you don't spend too long, because as I said, it will just take you down, and it basically makes it really, really hard. It makes it so much harder to move on to step number 2. So just don't spend too much time here. But you do need to you just need to understand what happened from to you. And then you move on to L, the L in ULA. And the L stands for let go. And it's let go with love and gratitude. Let what happened go. Let it go. There's no need to analyze, there's no need to fix, there's no need to discuss, there's no need to forgive. No, just let it go. Let it go. But what about this? What about that? You're probably saying, how can I just let it go? They shouldn't have done that. Well, my answer is just let it go with love and gratitude. What do you mean love and gratitude? I shouldn't feel love and gratitude for what they did or for what happened. Correct. But let it go. Let it go. But what do you mean? I should try and fix it. I should try and fix it. Surely I should try and fix it or find out what happened. No, well, you want speed of healing this emotional wound for you, don't you? So if the answer is yes, just let it go. Let it go with love and gratitude. Now, I'm not saying that this is easy, but what I am saying is that this is the quickest way through this, to the point that when it happens again, it just bounces off you. Just like crazy, being called crazy or mental, now bounces off me. So just let it go. So understand what happened and then let it go. And let it go with love and gratitude. So now we move on to the A in the ULA. And the A stands for action. And it's about taking action to raise your vibration. So see, when you are emotionally triggered, it lowers your vibration by a lot when your emotional trigger, when your triggers are still raw, okay? So you want to take some actions to raise your vibration back up. And I suggest to take some loving self-care actions when you are emotionally triggered. Things like, taking yourself for a soothing bath, listening to uplifting music, do meditation, go for a walk in nature. I mean, nature is such a wonderful way to uplift and raise your vibration. Watch a funny movie, eat some high vibration food, like fresh fruit is fabulous. Drink some water, drink some juices, go for a massage if you can, go for a walk, do some sort of exercise, do some sort of yoga. So in other words, A is for action, and go on a bit of a self-care rampage. Just treat yourself. Just be really kind and compassionate and loving towards yourself, and show yourself that compassion by doing some really loving self-care actions. So how do I feel now after having applied the ULA methodology to my rejection and ghosting by my friend? So, well, I now feel so much lighter. I feel like a bubble has popped. I definitely have no desire to fix it anymore. I'm not even interested in finding out what I apparently did to cause it. I mean, to me, it's no longer relevant. I mean, what happened. I mean, I feel free. I've just let it go with love and gratitude. My vibration has come back. My high vibrations has come back because I did some self-care took some self-care actions to bring my vibration back. I did some yoga, did some meditation. I took myself off for a delicious, relaxing massage. Ate some fruit, drank some water. Being in nature, all those things. And I'm also really, I feel really grateful as I know. I feel I know a lot more about my friend as well. So I'm grateful for that. So, and I also feel, I feel gratitude. It's funny because after all of this, and it was horrible, I actually feel a sense of gratitude because I feel that my rejection trigger has gone a long way to being healed. So I guess I'll have to wait for the next rejection to know if it's completely healed or not. But I know I've gone a long way towards healing it. And I'm really grateful because I really feel now too that I'm even more equipped and ready if I'm triggered again. I mean, I've got tools. I've got my ULA methodology, which I've just told you about, and I've also got this video episode that I can watch or listen to again whenever I get triggered and go, oh, what am I going to do? I know just to watch this video to get me started. So next time you get emotionally triggered, I suggest that you watch this video or listen to this episode again. I mean, that's a really easy thing to do. And I also recommend that you apply the ULA methodology of understand, let go, and action. And if you want a diagram and another video on the ULA methodology, and there's other uses for it as well, then you can get that by grabbing my Living in High Vibration Roadmap. And you can get that at lhvroadmap.com. That's lhvroadmap.com. And as I said, you'll get a diagram and another video explaining all the other uses of this ULA methodology. It's wonderful. So my wish for you is that you embrace the ULA methodology and have it as a tool to use when you get triggered. I mean, it will help you recover your vibration faster and eventually you won't be triggered. So just before my mic died, I asked him what he would like me to say for him at his funeral. And it was just 3 words. Just do it. So in Mike's words, just do it. Bye.